Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and to another episode of this gratitude video series where I share 5 things that I am grateful for in a given month. And this is actually a spin-off of my weekly newsletters. I send out an email every Fridays where I share 5 things that I enjoyed, appreciated, or discovered in a given week. And I have been getting such positive responses from that newsletter. And from there, I asked you guys if you wanted to see me make a monthly video sharing 5 things that I haven't shared in the newsletter. So if you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell down below. That'll just let you know when I post a new video. So I gotta say, I am in such a good mood right now. And I think it's for many reasons. I got a good workout in this morning. I have a hot mug of coffee in front of me, and I'm just in this really great mind space to be able to share what I'm about to share with you guys. And I think it's just really important to really, soak in these moments when I'm just feeling so much gratitude for nothing extraordinary, but just thankful that I am feeling peaceful and calm right now. So yeah, I think it's just a great headspace for me to be in, to sit down and talk and share about things that have been really meaningful to me this past month. The first one is actually a fight that I had with Brandon. I can't even tell you exactly when. It could have very well been at the beginning of October. And I don't even remember the details of how we got to where we landed. But we have this running joke between us, right? Where Brandon likes to tease me, since us moving to Hawaii. He has been way tanner than me, like the whole time. And we both really like to have, a little bit of a sun-kissed look. Like the lighter, paler look is not a good look for either of us, we think. So yeah, we're always kind of like jokingly competing with each other to be tanner. And, Brandon does a lot more, like outdoor activities. Like one of his favorite things here on Maui is to play beach volleyball, and he does that pretty regularly. So he's much tanner than me. And we have this running joke between, like not just between us, but, whenever we go visit friends in the mainland and, we'll compare tans or whatever, like he'll jokingly refer to me as Snow White, and he keeps calling me Snow White when really I want to look like Pocahontas, right? This is nothing new. This has been a running joke for a year plus now. But something happened at the beginning of this month where he called me Snow White, and I just like lost my marbles. Like I lost my shit, and I was like, stop effing calling me Snow White. And I just got so defensive and sensitive. And I've been going through my own, I like to call them growing pains right now. I have been for the last like maybe 4 months, been in this season of transitioning and just learning a lot more about myself, what I want, how to be more assertive with the things that I want, and just speaking up, setting boundaries, all that stuff, right? All that good stuff. And I want to say that the thing that I still struggle with very much is the fact that I don't deserve to live in such a beautiful place. And it sounds ridiculous, like when I say it out loud, to be honest. Okay, so I think the reason the Snow White joke really, cut me at the core is because ever since I got to Maui, I had it in my mind that, oh my gosh, I need to have this successful coaching business and it has to generate this income so that I could provide for my family. And I put all these expectations on myself, and I was literally just barely surviving under the pressures that, I placed on myself. And for me, it's like, oh, I shouldn't go out and enjoy Maui until I'm successful. When Brandon made the Snow White jokes, I think it just really, I took what he said and I put it through my own filter that meant to say, see, like, no wonder you're not as tan as you want. And that means it's because you're not where you want with your business. And that means you're not going out and enjoying the sun and just frolicking on the beach every day, all day. I'm really gonna try not to cry. I always have such a hard time telling the story without crying. But I think my lack of a tan has been like a physical representation to me that I am not letting myself enjoy the beauty that is around me, other than like the nice drives that I have to go run errands, or, you know, the days where we do schedule outings with friends, or on my way to yoga class, on my way to CrossFit. But other than that, I still am very much struggling with the fact that I feel like I'm not worthy to be living in Hawaii. And that makes me really sad to say, because I know who called me out here. I know who it is that has a plan for me, right? And the fact that God just wants me to enjoy all of these things and I'm unable to because I'm in my own way. This fight escalated, and I basically told Brandon, like, don't make this joke anymore. Stop calling me Snow White. I don't know. I just said some other ridiculous things like, I'm taking up space here and I'm being useless. And just all this negative self-talk just started coming out. And it was the first time where I think Brandon kind of almost had like an out-of-body experience during this fight and thought, oh my gosh, Jenn thinks I'm the enemy right now for some reason. But it goes deeper than that. It's really, she has all these internal struggles, and whatever I'm saying, I'm as in Brandon, whatever I'm saying to her, she's putting it through this filter in her mind, and it's like one that's like whipping herself for not being good enough, for not being deserving of all the blessings that just keep, you know, pouring into her life. And in that moment, he didn't say any of this to me, by the way, but I'm crying, and we're at the climax of our fight, and he all of a sudden just goes, you know, I love you, right? You do know that I love you, and I don't want you to fail. Brandon has never, maybe not never, but I can't remember any specific time where I'm unraveling in one of our arguments and he comes in and he tells me that he loves me. That usually happens after we're both calm. But he spoke that to me, and immediately that like diffused the entire situation. And when he asked me, you know that I love you, right? I think in other situations, when I'm emotionally riled up, when I feel like I'm not being seen and heard and my emotions aren't being acknowledged, I would be very quick to be like, whatever, of course you love me, but like, you know, you don't see me, you don't hear me, and just like immediate walls and guards up and all of that. But as soon as he said that, just in my gut, like everything kind of subsided, and it really came down to like, of course you love me. Like, I have no doubt about that. If anything, like, Brandon, sometimes he'll like push my buttons and he'll challenge me in ways that I just want him to back off and get away from me. But it's just always coming from such this loving, supportive place where, you know, he might see something that I'm struggling with, where I'm like making this thing to be much bigger than it should be, and he's able to acknowledge and see that it's something that I can totally conquer. And he will sit there and really speak to that and try to bring me out sometimes of my own misery. And I often don't see it like that. I do feel like he's hard on me because I'm so sensitive. I think that I'm so sensitive. But as soon as he said that, I just knew. And I said, yes, I know you love me. I know you love me. And he just came over and he hugged me. And I would say that was one of the quickest turnarounds we had in a fight. And I remember him saying, he's like, oh my gosh, what can I do to support you better? Like, I know that you are one of the most hardworking people that I know, and you are the hardest on yourself of anyone I know. And he's like, maybe I don't tell you enough what a good job you're doing, or maybe I don't encourage you. I think it, but maybe I don't say it. And he was like, can you give me homework? Can you tell me how I can better let you know how you're doing? And I just so appreciated that, because, you know, I didn't realize how, not that I didn't realize, I guess I always knew, but I was never like assertive enough to ask for it. But yeah, when he gives me like verbal affirmations for like, wow, I see you, and I see how hard you work to keep our home tidy and nice and organized, just so that we could both move around efficiently and, you know, get things done so that we can be even more valuable when it comes to the work that we're doing. And for him to speak out and these specific situations where he sees that, I told him like how much that would mean to me, and he's like, okay. It was such a loving moment between us. And then right after, he was like, would you be willing to do this exercise with me? And he went and he grabbed a piece of paper, just like scrap paper from like a printing job that we did, and he put a pen in front of me and basically was like, let's write down some affirmations for you. And maybe you just need to read them a few times a day just to remind yourself so that you can retaliate to this tyrant that lives in my brain, right? We got to write some affirmations, like some truths that we know about you that you have to go back to when I have these voices constantly telling me that I'm not good enough. And we wrote down 5 as a starting point, but there's one that I have been clinging to all month. And this is one that I write every morning in my 5-minute journal. And I do this as a practice for myself. And when I have the moments of feeling unworthy, this is what I go back to. And I really want to share this with you in the event that this is something that might serve you, that maybe you need to hear. And it's this: I am loved. I can never do enough to repay what I've been given. And this speaks to me on so many levels because, yes, I'm like profoundly loved. Like, I am loved to the point where like Jesus died for me. And that's still a concept that I can't wrap my mind around. Like, someone loving me so much that they would die for me. And to picture it be this physical person that I've never like met before, right? And I guess like I the closest thing I can do is to think about like Brandon taking a bullet for me and what that would do, just picturing that situation. So I'm profoundly loved, and it's an impossible game for me to play to think that, okay, when I do X, Y, and Z or make X, Y, and Z amount of dollars, then I am worthy. Then I deserve to go out and enjoy this beautiful place I get to call home. Like, what? That makes no sense. Like, there is no final destination to arrive, right? Like, the only thing constant is change, and I only want to be growing, and I want to be better than I was yesterday, and that's all I can hope for. Like, comparing myself to any other person, it's an unproductive, impossible game to try to win. And so I can never do enough to repay what I've been given. I think I'm still trying to sit with that right now because it's such a wild concept, right? Like, as I was preparing for this video, I was even thinking about this affirmation, and a spin-off of that was something where I was thinking about the people in my life right now that have been loving and supporting me in like everything that I'm going through. Like, 2 of my closest friends here, Paulina and Andrea, they've really been journeying with me for the last 5 months or so, just supporting everything that I have been, like, we've been supporting each other in our struggles and what we're trying to work through for ourselves. And it just made me sit and think like, oh my gosh, like, I attract incredible people. And I just kept sitting with that. Like, I attract incredible people, and I have these blessings coming my way from these relationships that I have. And I just feel like I just keep getting loved on to a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? I don't deserve it. If anything, this constant feeling of feeling unworthy is really almost tainting or like rejecting the people that I love who keep loving on me, right? And like, I just want to put a stop to that. There's no scorekeeping, right? It's not like, oh, my friend was so kind to me yesterday, so I must be kind back to. It doesn't even work that way. But I don't know why in my mind, and we were talking about this too, where it's like maybe it's somewhat cultural too, right? Like, growing up learning that someone does something nice for you, like, you got to repay them, and, you know, never be in debt to anyone, like things like that. And I feel like that's almost like playing into like these generous acts. So what I'm working on right now is just, as much as I'm willing to give others as well, like, I want to be that generous. I want to be that open in being able to receive. And so when someone wants to love on me or say nice things to me, I just remember like, wow, like, thank you. Like, I'm so loved, and I can never do enough. There's no enough that I can do to repay all I've been given. This one affirmation is gratitude number 1, and I'm holding on to it for dear life. Oh my gosh, we're only on the first one. Okay, so the second one, a little bit more lighthearted. It is this lunch bag that I got from Target. And okay, can we just talk about the sloths for a second? It just looked so funny and ridiculous and silly. And what happened was, like, Brandon and I, we were at Target, like, running our usual errands, And I remember walking by, I think I must have gotten this in August or September, but I think it was like a back to school thing. Anyway, this was like just right on display and it was on sale. I think I got it for like $6 something. And I remember walking by it like, oh my gosh, it's doing it again. I remember walking by this and just like laughing, like actually like giggling out loud with Brandon. And we were just standing there like laughing at this lunch bag. And it's doing it to me again, like this guy. I swear, every time I look at it, like one of the sloths, it's like the sloth of the day, it just like makes me laugh. So I saw this and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want it. It's just bringing me so much joy just looking at it. I definitely knew that I had use for it, but little did I know how much joy this thing brings. Not just to me, but to the people around me when I bring this out to my friends. I swear, okay, so my friend Paulina, she just really enjoys this lunch bag like I do. And she's like, God, the sloths, they're so cute, but ugly and stupid and funny. And she's like, I just love your lunch bag. And I've been going back to Target to find one for her. I just really want to get one for her, but haven't seen it. Okay, so to tell you actually more about the lunch bag, it's nothing really that special inside. It zips up and here it is. There's not even like an additional pocket or anything inside. There we go. I don't expect like great insulation at all or anything, but I do use it with one of those like ice packs, the Cooler Shock. I don't know, I got it on Amazon. But this is perfect for like one lunch and a snack. Yeah, especially because I pack my lunch and snacks in like reusable containers. I'm sure if you use like a stasher bag or plastic bags, you could fit way more. But for example, like my tiffin, my 3-tier tiffin, I can fit that and like the ice pack and maybe like one other thing. But I'm so grateful for this thing. And it actually makes me really excited to pack food. And the coffee shop that I've been working out of lately, because sometimes I do want to get out of, you know, my room and just work outside of the home. I've been going to this one coffee shop and they're so cool about me eating outside food, you know, while I'm working there. I'll still get coffee there, but yeah, I've been packing my own lunch and it makes me excited to pack food, to pack healthy food to take in my little lunchbox. So if you guys like, if this is still available at your Target, just walk by it and see if it brings you joy. So gratitude number 3 has got to be my essential oils. This has become such a part of my routine, and here's why. So this first one, I just bought this empty dropper little bottle, and in here I've got, I think it was like, it's jojoba oil. Yes, jojoba oil and drops of organic peppermint oil. And this, I carry this around in my yoga bag. And the reason I do that is because, you know, our yoga studio is not, it's not air conditioned, and we do like leave the doors open, and like when it's breezy, it's heavenly. But other than that, like it's mostly, you know, it's hot. It can get humid. One of the first yoga classes that I attended at the studio, which has really become my second home. One of the instructors, one of my favorite instructors, Danny, she walked over and was like, hey, do you want to use some of my essential oil concoction? And there's peppermint oil in it, and if you put some on the back of your neck, it's really cooling during your practice. And I do remember feeling kind of sticky, so I took her up on the offer and I put some on the back of my neck, and I put some like right here in my elbow creases. And throughout the practice, like I felt like I had like a little mini fan on me. And I was like, ooh, that's nice. Like I want to make one for myself. So that's what I did. And this is what I always carry in my yoga bag. Now, since then, I've been wanting to venture out to other things. I have these 3 oils from doTERRA, and I'm not affiliated with this brand in any way. I actually purchased this through my yoga instructor, Danny. The reason I did so too was in another class, she's awesome. Like I love her. At the beginning of most classes, she just brings in her own oils and then she passes around the class, and she's like, hey, if you want to take some and put some on your skin, like please, you know, feel free to do so. And just the whole class we share. But there was one blend, this one, it's called Arise. And doTERRA does have like a yoga collection, and I think this is one of them. But it's so like, it's uplifting and grounding. Those are the two words that come to mind. So it's got fractionated coconut oil, so that's the carrier oil. It's not like straight up essential oils. And my skin's too sensitive to do anything straight on, so it is carried in coconut oil. We've got lemon, grapefruit, Siberian fir, FIR, and Melissa leaf oil. I don't know what that is. This has been another one where a part of my routine before we start our practice, I'll dab some on, and you know, while I'm moving in class, I just smell it and it makes me feel really good. So these two always live in my yoga bag. And then these next two I mostly use at home. I mean, I definitely use at home and not at yoga. The first one is On Guard. And this one is, what's in here? Wild orange peel, clove bud, cinnamon leaf, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus leaf, and rosemary leaf. I love the smell of this. I first was exposed to this when I stayed with my friend Allie Cherry in her place. Her home just smells so good. Like every single room, it's beautiful and it smells amazing. And I just remember distinctly like really enjoying the smell of this because I think she had a homemade cleanser that she made with the On Guard, and it, like, I remember like wiping down her counter and just thinking, oh my gosh, this smells so good. And so when I had the chance to, I wanted to get one for myself, and so I purchased this with Danny, and this is what I like diffuse right in that corner over there in my little diffuser. The other one that I like to do like more daytime morning-ish is Citrus Bliss. So this has got wild orange, mandarin orange, grapefruit, bergamot, tangerine, clementine, and vanilla. So I love me like, you know, the citrusy vanilla scents, like the orange creamsicle scents. I've just always had a soft spot for that blend, and this is exactly what it smells like. So I've been really enjoying diffusing these at home. So the next thing, the fourth thing on my gratitude list, is also yoga related because that's what yoga has changed my life in the past, like, about almost 4 months. And what I want to show you is this yoga strap from Lululemon. So here's my yoga mat and this strap, and I'll tell you why this strap is so awesome. I would say for like a good couple months, I was carrying this mat without the strap, and this mat is pretty heavy. It's bigger than I think the average yoga mat, or the one that I had, and it's thick, and I purposely got it thicker because I like the extra cushion for my knees. So I would carry this, and it's heavy and bulky, and what would happen is I would keep it in the backseat of my car, and I swear every time I like braked in the car, it would just unravel. And so by the time I got to the studio, I'm like struggling to put it together, and after like 2 months of me doing that, I'm like, you know what, let me just freaking get the yoga strap. Here it is. It's really simple actually, in that you just loosen one end like that. And I'm only showing you this because I actually saw reviews on the Lulu site where people, or maybe it was one person that was like, I don't understand how to use the strap, and so I returned it, or I'm going to return it. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So when I got mine, I'm like, is it that complicated? It's actually quite intuitive, I thought. But anyway, you loosen this part and the mat just slides right out. Same thing here. Just go like that. You slide it out. So what I love about this strap is, and maybe you can do this with most yoga straps, I don't know, I haven't owned many. In one of my favorite classes to go to is on Sundays, and it's the alignment flow class. We do a lot of like mobility work with like the tennis ball and just like rolling out knots, and it's the one class where we do use straps to stretch and stuff. And this is so amazing. So basically, our studio provides the yoga straps, but they're the kind of straps where it's got like that D hook, and you kind of have to take the time to like loop it in to like make sure the strap is tight. But for this, because it already has the hook here, I'm able to just like put my foot in and then just quickly tighten it to where I need it, and then use this to stretch. And yesterday we did this really funny stretch where our instructor actually had us put this on our head, like put the strap on our head and then tie the other end to our foot. And so it was like this really amazing, like your body's in a V and you're getting this like neck stretch along with the leg stretch. It was awesome. I just loved that this has like such a dual purpose where I can use it not only to carry my mat, but the fact that I can use it to stretch. It's been making me so happy. The other thing is, I think there's like a little bag that you can get from Lulu, like, you know, one of those toiletry makeup situations, and it comes with the little carabiner, I believe. So if you wanted to hook it on here, and that way you don't have to carry a bag if you just wanted like a little bag of necessities. Maybe I'll do that in the future. I don't know. I just thought of something and I thought I'd ask you. Would you want to see a what I carry in my yoga bag video? It's an idea that popped up in my head during one of my classes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'd like to make one, because there are certain things that I always carry with me to yoga. And as someone that's very new to yoga and extremely passionate about it right now, I thought that might be something that's interesting to share. So if that's something you'd like to watch, please let me know in the comments down below. So gratitude number 5, and this is where the last one to tie up this video. This class that I've been taking at my studio, so the class is called ShaktiRize. And it's a mix of yoga, tribal dance, hip hop, Bollywood. The way that this class was described to me by some of the friends I've made at the yoga studios and, you know, my instructors. So first of all, it's a women's only class, right? And they said it's like you're going clubbing, except it's during the day. There's no alcohol, there's no hangovers, and because it's women only, you don't have to worry about, you know, no creep just coming up behind you and grinding up on you, right? And it's this place for like women to get together and just be free. And I gotta tell you, like, when I first heard this and I heard about the nature of like all the dancing, and it just sounded so out of my comfort zone, and it's not something that I would seek out. And I just had flashbacks of like, you know, the anxiety I had when I was dancing at 1 Million Studios in Korea, or trying to dance. And just even the thought of it made me so uncomfortable. And I think I've had multiple conversations, and what it really took was people that I really liked at my studio, like, highly recommended. Every single one of them was like, you gotta check it out, you gotta check it out, just go to one class. And I bit the bullet and I went. And the first class I went to was actually taught by the owner of the studio. Her name is Jasmine, and she's, you know, certain people that you meet, they have this light about them, and you want to be around them and you want to get to know them more. Like, she's one of those people. And I remember even before going to her class, I'd see her once in a while in passing, and then we finally connected one time, and we just like briefly spoke, and I think she was like complimenting me on my skin or something. And it was that one time where like we exchanged names. And I remember weeks or so later, when I went to attend her ShaktiRize class, like as soon as I walked in the door, she was like, hey Jen. And I remember being surprised, like, wow, like she remembered my name. That's so cool. I would say of all the classes that I've attended at the studio, that was the first one where it was packed with women of all ages and sizes, and it was so cool to see that. Here's the amazing thing about this class. It's not just a workout class. You're basically it's like you're dancing, but you're also getting like life coaching during this hour that you're in there. And I love how she like starts out the class, because it's really like, you know, you take that moment, you breathe, and, you know, she really emphasizes like how lucky we are that we get to have this hour to, you know, support each other and do this thing that is really empowering for us women. And, you know, not everyone in the world has the good fortune to be able to do that. So it's like, you know, let's send love to them too. And it's just this connection of like all of us being there for the same purpose. And, you know, she'll even be like, you may not know the name of the women next to you yet, but like, these are all your sisters. We're all here to do the same thing. There's no judgment here. This is a safe place. And we are so hard on ourselves most of the time, you know, when we're living our lives. So she's like, this is what I want you to do during this class. I want you to, you know, if you get hot, like take off your shirt and just dance around in your sports bra. And I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and compliment yourself and say nice things and do all those things that you don't do for yourself regularly. And it is a workout. It's not just like, yeah, we're dancing, but then in between, like during certain sets, like we'll do like mountain climbers or like high intensity interval training stuff. And in between, when we do breathe, like resting time is like going to child's pose or like going to downward dog and breathing. And even then, you know, she'll prompt you like, okay, like, are you thinking about your bank account right now? You're thinking about your bank account? Exhale that shit. Like, don't think about that right now. Or like, if you do, just let it go, right? So it's crazy because I have all these thoughts running in my mind, and I felt like Jasmine was in my brain, like addressing those things. Another part of it I remember was at the end of class when we're lying there just like sweating. She just speaks so much love and affirmation to everyone, and it's what else did she say? It was like, hey, all that sweat that's pouring out of you, and you get sweaty in this class, because she has like these infrared panels on the top, so it is a heated class where we're doing all this. So it's like you're dripping sweat, and she's like, all that sweat that's coming out, those are everyone else's opinions of you. Like, just sweat it out and let it go. Oh my gosh, you guys, that first class, I didn't realize how much I needed that, how much my soul and my body just needed that release. And it was so uncomfortable to like be in a sports bra, and I totally made myself more uncomfortable. And I was like, you know what? Who cares? And I did it in my sports bra, and I would have never done that had I like lived in Korea and I was going to like group classes, you know? The challenge of like making eye contact with myself in the mirror, and like we're doing like these sexy moves, and I'm supposed to be saying like really nice encouraging things to myself. Oh my gosh, it was so uncomfortable, and I did it, and it was so freeing. I just remember that first class when, you know, at the end we go into Shavasana or like corpse pose, and you're lying there and you're breathing, and she's speaking to us. I just thought it was sweat, but when I got up to fold up my mat to leave, like I had tears like pouring out of my eyeballs. Like, it was crazy. It was like somebody squeezed my head and there was just liquid coming out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I crying right now? And I remember I made a friend that day, and I walked out, I'm like, hey, like, why am I crying right now? I'm crying. And she's like, girl, I always cry in this class. And I'm like, are you serious? And it's not even like this, you know, sobbing. It's just coming out. And I really felt like it was like my body just letting go of all of these things that have been just holding me back, you know? Oh, it was so good. It's so good to the point where if you're watching this, right? Or if you're one of my friends or someone, whether I know you yet or not, if you ever come to Maui, you got to go to this class with me. Like, I want to bring every woman that I know and love to this class, especially if it makes you uncomfortable. And what's really cool is Jasmine, I do know that she flies to different parts of, I don't know if it's just the US or the world, but she does do teacher trainings. While we do have a website for our yoga studio, the ShaktiRize class has its own website. So I'll link it down below if you wanted to go, you know, read about it, or if you just want to check it out. But oh my gosh, talk about like detoxing. And Brandon was actually so shocked, because when he first heard about this class too, he was like, oh, you know, and when I told him I was going, he was so surprised that I kept going. And there were weeks where I would go twice a week. They do only offer it twice a week at my studio. And he's like, wow, of all the classes, I would never expect you to be going to this one. And I told him, I'm like, oh, it still makes me very uncomfortable, but I think that's what is so powerful for me right now. And I've just been so proud of myself, and I feel leaving so empowered and encouraged and beautiful. Yeah, I do. Like, I feel more like I'm stepping into my best self. All right, so that wraps up the 5 things that I have been grateful for in the month of October 2019. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to receive more content like this, make sure you sign up for my gratitude newsletter down below. Every Friday, I share 5 random things much like this. I swear I don't always talk about yoga. It's just been such a big part of my life these days, and I'll probably talk about it more. Thank you so much for tuning in, for being here. And if you would like, I would love for you to leave me a comment to let me know what you're grateful for in this month. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.